It has been a very productive 2.5 weeks since my first podcast episode. So, I'm back, and I'm just gonna jump right into it. I've got 3 finished objects, 3 works in process, I think, and more acquisitions than I'm proud of. Let's begin. My first finished object is, interestingly, also a finished object from the first episode of my podcast. It is this Parthenon sweater. Last time I said that I ran out of yarn and it was slightly too short, but I was just gonna live with it because it was good enough. But I couldn't live with it. So I had to bite the bullet and order 1 ball of yarn to get 1 extra inch so that it would be just slightly less cropped. The thing is with this sweater is that it's a little bit frumpy. It's a very thick, chunky fabric, so it can't be long. I mean, even as is, I look kind of like a box wearing it, but I love the texture and it's very warm, and so I know that it's going to be something that I wear, like especially just at home. Like if I'm cold, I can just throw it on. It's perfect for that, but yeah, it can't be too long. So I did just buy 1 ball of yarn and made it just a little bit longer, so now it just perfectly is at the level of the top of my high-waisted jeans. Or actually mid-rise jeans. It's perfectly at that length. So if I was wearing some high-rise jeans, I think it'd be even better and like not a single worry about it. But I am really happy that I did that. I just got the yarn yesterday and it took me like an hour or something to just do that extra inch. And it was very worthwhile, because if you're gonna use 20 balls of yarn to make a sweater and then have it be just like slightly off and not use it, I'd much rather get 21 balls of yarn and make a sweater that I'll actually use. That's how I feel anyway. So that is done now. Hopefully you won't be seeing it ever again. Everything fell. So, yeah, my next finished object is also an old project. This was my first sweater that I ever made. It was a very successful project at the time. It was, as I just said, the first actual sweater that I ever made that wasn't mesh, because mesh is a little bit easier and it's more forgiving. But I made it with cotton, which is a 80% recycled cotton, 20% polyester yarn, which was a strange choice for a sweater. And that is honestly the downfall of the sweater, is that it not only was like a summer fiber with a, winter silhouette, but also it created a very stiff fabric because it was cotton. It didn't have any stretch or anything, so yeah, it was just a little bit strange. It was wearable. I did wear it a couple times when I first made it, but then I never wore it again. So I decided to do something that I've been considering for a long time, and what happened was one evening I was like bored of crochet because I've been crocheting so much. I needed something else to do. So this project actually didn't involve any crochet at this point. It was just frogging. This was a bottom-up construction sweater. So what I was able to do is frog off the sleeves and frog a little bit of the neckline. So what I was left with was this very cute off-shoulder tank top. And I know that I'm going to get a lot of wear out of this in the summer. That's exactly the kind of thing that I would like to wear. So I'm very, very happy with it. If you're in a similar situation and you're putting off fixing something because you don't wear it, just do it. It did take me a couple nights actually to do all the frogging, but it was absolutely worth it. Now I have something that I'm actually going to wear, and then I can be proud to say, yeah, I made this myself. Awesome. Okay. Third finished object. This one I actually did crochet, but I crocheted it in its entirety in the past 2 weeks, so you haven't seen it at all yet. This is a great project for scrap yarns, and that's what I did. I used some scrap yarns, and I think I'm going to make a tutorial of how to make it because I'm about to make another one for a Christmas gift, and I just feel like for scrap yarns. Like if you have three different scrap yarns, and I was gonna say a similar weight, but honestly mine are not even a similar weight, and it turned out totally fine, you can make this super cute hat. And it reminds me of a teddy bear. I'm not gonna put this on because it would ruin my hair, and I'm just really proud of this. I've tried to make hats before, but I've never successfully made a winter beanie until these past 2 weeks. I also made hats for my mom and dad for Christmas, and they came out really good, and so then I was like, finally I'm gonna make the hat that I've been planning for myself, and I used the same construction that I did for theirs. Yeah, I think it's super cute. And this white yarn was the scraps of my moonshine sweater, and it literally was just the perfect amount. Like, really, I was playing yarn chicken at the end there. It was a little scary. This brown is actually like a preemptive scrap. I used it from the work in progress that I'm about to show you. What I figured I could spare from that, I used here. And this tan gray, I wonder how it looks on camera, because in the ball it looks super tan, but as soon as I crochet it into anything it looks gray, and I'm not really sure what that is. But yeah, that is just a stash yarn that I'm using for another Christmas project, a Christmas present that I figured I could spare. So a preemptive scrap once again. The one thing that you can see that I've been trying to adjust, I feel like I should at some point sew this down so it's not actually a functional fold, because it's kind of annoying me. And especially because it has this striped pattern, it's very obvious if this starts to like sag. I don't like that. But it's super cute. I don't know why it reminds me of like something that Paddington would wear. Like some stuffed bear would wear this, and I love that. So yeah, obsessed. Maybe I'll be posting a tutorial soon. Keep your eyes out. So then yeah, the work in progress that uses that same brown yarn is a pair of coordinated mittens. So the idea is that they're supposed to like look good together, you know, because if it's a cold winter day, I don't want to have to think about how to look cute. I want everything to just go together. And I already did this last year. I made a bunch of blue accessories, blue winter accessories. I made a scarf and like a warm headband and leg warmers that are all made of the same yarn. But honestly, the blue is a little bit too crazy sometimes, or all the time. Like I feel like I look like crazy when I'm wearing all of it. So my goal this year was to make something a little bit more neutral, and I feel like these are obviously very neutral colors, but I included a little bit of pattern because I believe I saw in a, oh my gosh, some YouTube podcast. Her name is Emily. This is really embarrassing. You know who I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, she was saying that it's really good to have patterns in your winter accessories because you're so bundled up, so having a little bit of patterns breaks it up a little bit, and I really thought that was a great idea. So I put a little bit of pattern in each of these, and these mittens I'm going to show, I was inspired by a Pinterest post. This was not my idea, but the colors are different. And again, these, because it's this like teddy bear brown, it just reminds me of a teddy bear. Like I feel like I'm going to look like a teddy bear walking down the street in this, and that is a good thing. That is a positive note. Okay, this brown yarn is a Finnish wool that I picked up at a local yarn store. It is, I don't have the tag for this one, but I bought a matching one in black. That's in my acquisition section, but let me just peek over at the label. Yeah, it's made by Pirtin Kehrämö, which is located in Mikkeli, I think, a city in Finland. And I was really excited to try it because their yarns are made from 100% Finnish wool, so the sheep are like Finnish sheep breeds, and obviously raised in Finland and then spun at this spinnery in Mikkeli in Finland. So I thought that'd be really cool to try some like local yarns. And Finnish wool is supposed to be, you know, sort of like Norwegian wool or Icelandic wool even, like more rustic and warmer because it's, I don't know, it's been bred to be warmer because we're in a colder climate. So I thought that'd be really useful, especially for making winter accessories. Now what I was originally going to do, I'm going to show you, I got this black charcoal-y one. And these are the natural color of the sheep, I think. I mean, I think I understood correctly that these are just the color of the wool from the sheep, so they're not dyed, which I also loved because that means if I ever wash this hat, I don't have to worry about bleeding because the darkest color won't bleed, it's not dyed, which is awesome. And anyway, I wanted to make a striped mittens with these two colors. And yeah, okay, they look pretty good on camera. But then I was talking about it with my sister, and we were looking at, like, if you really look closely, like that, I don't know, the contrast just wasn't quite enough. So I ended up going for these designs instead. Now, this black now I don't have a use for, but I'm gonna find a use for it. I really like this yarn. It wasn't crazy expensive. It was €9. And I think it's supposed to be 100 grams. Yeah, it's supposed to be 100 grams, but it says it's 270 meters. Anyway, it's like a really good value. I mean, as you can see, I got these stripes on the hat plus 2 mittens, and I have this much left, so I think I'm going to be able to do quite a long cuff, which I'm very excited about because when I was a kid, I had these mittens that had really long cuffs, and that was so perfect for like an actually cold winter day because you put your sleeve tucked into the cuff and then no wind can get to you. So that's what I'm hoping to do with this that I still have left over. And these, I don't know, maybe I'll make a sock, maybe I'll make something for my boyfriend, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. But I'll talk about that again, I guess, in my acquisition section. Keep this organized. So those were that. Mittens. Yeah, you know what, it started snowing here. So that's why this week I was super motivated to get these winter accessories done because, you know what, I really need them. I didn't have a single hat. Oh, I had one hat, but it's really itchy. So I really needed a hat and mittens, yeah. So anyway, speaking of winter accessories, I was super productive on those ones, much less so on this one that I already showed in the last episode. And it looks no different. I did do a little bit. You can't see because it was like 2 rows, but I did do a little bit. Look, I don't know. I'm really excited about it. I just can't bring myself to do it. It's the waistcoat stitch is just so hard. Like, honestly. It's really difficult, and it's okay, it's fine when you're going in the right direction, but when you have to go the wrong direction and do it backwards, if you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. But it's really difficult. But it looks so good, you know? It'll be worth it in the end, but I just gotta motivate myself. So hopefully once I have all these gift knits off my plate, gift crochets off my plate, because I am trying to mail that out in the next couple weeks, and I still have 3 gifts to finish. So wish me luck on that. It should be fine. One of them will be very quick because it's going to be the hat that I already made, and that'll take me 2 days. But the other 2, I'm not too sure how long they're going to take. If I get into the groove, maybe they'll go a little bit faster. Let's hope. Then, my next work in progress, I also showed last time, but I have made quite significant progress, if I do say so myself. That would be this ribbed sweater inspired by a certain random commercial sweater that I saw on Pinterest. So now you can see it really looks like a top. So I left it at this point. I got to the point where it is a tank top, essentially. And I'm going to do the, neckline details and the sleeves at some point once I'm done with all of my gifts, because I just decided that once I got to this point, I gotta take a break. I gotta focus on some other things. And then I can come back to it later. But I'm feeling really unmotivated because I just don't know quite how I'm gonna do it. And you know how it just goes. Like, you work on a project and you're really excited. Then you get some other ideas for some other projects, and you get the yarn for those other projects. And then you're just not really feeling motivated about the old project. So we'll see what order I end up doing things in, because I have so many ideas right now, and the good news is I have ideas for pretty much every yarn in my stash right now. Except for one sweater quantity. But other than that, I have ideas for everything. So that's good in the sense that I'm going to work through a lot of stuff that I already own, and I don't need to buy more yarn, because I've already bought a lot of yarn this 2 weeks, you'll see. But at the same time, obviously, yeah, it's just a lot to be thinking about and remembering my ideas and everything. Anyway, this is how it's looking. I do really enjoy the yarn and the fabric still. This is Drops Alpaca, and it's in the shade light beige, I think. It's a little bit variegated, which I love. It just looks a little bit sandy. And yeah, I think it's gonna look really good. It looks super cropped when I hold it up, but when I put it on, it looks, it hits the top of my jeans, so we'll see how that all works out. The thing is, also, alpaca yarn grows a lot, apparently. This is my first time using it, so I'm quite nervous about that. But I guess that'll probably mean that it'll grow down in a way that will make it so I don't have to worry about it being, if it's a little bit too short. It looks really good, though. I just love this texture and this fabric. Moving on, those were all my works in progress that I'm going to show you. I do have, as I already said, 2 other hats that I made for my parents that I'm not going to show. And yeah, acquisitions. We have, first and foremost, as I already said, this yarn. Oh, the other thing about this yarn that I wanted to say. It is very woolly. Like, as I said, it's quite, it's very warm, so you can imagine that means, it's quite sticky. Not like sticky, but it sticks together a lot. Very feltful, maybe, is the right word. So the problem with that is it comes in this, it's not even like a twisted hank, and it's not a ball, it's sort of a jumble. It's just in this jumble, and I have to unwind it and rewind it into a ball, which I showed you my brown when I rewound into a ball. That is a pain in itself, to unwind it. It took me ages. It was like a mess in here. And then to wind it out from the ball that I made is also a real pain. The outside is fine, but I wanted to make both gloves simultaneously, so I'll have a good gauge of how much yarn I have for the cuffs. So I'm making one mitten from the outer string and one mitten from the center pull. The center pull one is a real pain. That's all I'm gonna say. It is not easy to pull out whatsoever, and it keeps, it's not even yarn barf, it's tying itself into knots in the middle, and then I have to pull the yarn barf out myself and try to unknot it. But anyway, it is a really nice yarn, great value, and it is quite soft considering that it's a really woolly wool. It's not really a super itchy wool to me anyway. And it's about a sport weight, if I had to guess. But you can do the math because I already said the numbers, but yeah. So that's a complaint, but it's not a huge negative. I don't want to say anything too negative about my local yarn buddies. You know, I would recommend. You know what? I also was watching a random other podcast. I do apologize. I don't know who it was, but randomly I watched it after I had already bought this yarn, and then she was recommending this yarn, and I was like, oh, I guess I made the right choice. Yes. So, as you might recall, last week in my acquisition section, last time in my acquisition section, I showed bicycle yarn that I got on vacation in Amsterdam. I did order some kid silk to go with it because, yeah, I'm trying to get as much as I possibly can out of this yardage, and it's not very much. So I needed to get a little bit extra bulk. Hopefully that'll help with making whatever project I end up making. So here we are. Drops Kid Silk. Oh no, it's coming undone. And I got it in the color Light Pearl. And here you can see it's a pretty good match. I mean, this one's obviously more gray and maybe even slightly more purple, but it definitely is a light pink. And I think that when it's just the mohair, I think it'll look nice. Maybe it'll, you know, it looks like it has a little bit of sheen almost. I've never used this Drops Kid Silk before, but I'm excited. It's probably really nice. I'm getting into mohair for the first time right now. I bought my first skeins of mohair actually a year ago, and they've been sitting in my stash since then. I have not known what to do with them. Yeah. So I just used actually mohair for the first time on a gift knit that I'm making right now. And it is causing some problems, but I'm just in the learning curve right now. So I'm hoping it'll all work out. And this kid silk, I don't know. Is it supposed to be softer or less soft? It's a little bit scratchy, to be frank with you. But we'll see once I make something with it, then I can give you an honest review. Right now I can only do what I can. Now, the other mohair that I got for the gift knit that I'm also using, I'm including it in this video because I'm also using it for a coat project that I have planned. Now, last year for Christmas, I made my boyfriend a coat. And since then I've been kind of jealous because that's just such a great, I mean, that's like the perfect use of crochet, because you know crochet is quite, well, it creates quite a structured fabric. It's quite stiff. So it's perfect for that kind of project where it's like a true outerwear. And yeah, that one just came out really good. And so I've been wanting to make one for myself. I've been collecting the yarns. Let me show you what I have so far. I've got this light blue that actually my boyfriend got me for Christmas last year. It's this light blue. It's a Finnish brand again. Kivi Jalka. Kaupunkilonga. But they sell it at like the grocery stores. But it's a sock yarn. It's nice. It's an Aran weight sock yarn. Then I have this real cheap one. I think it's the color is beige. Yeah, the color is beige. It's not quite white. It's like just an off-white. And I got this Drops brushed alpaca silk. Actually, it's not even mohair. Actually, so I've never used mohair. I've used kid silk and brushed alpaca silk. So these will go together. And this, I have ordered a mohair. Now I have a mohair to go with this blue yarn. But I'm still waiting on it in the mail. It should come in the next week. But I probably won't make this coat for a while, because I've got so many sweater projects that are sparking joy for me more right now. I'll probably do some of those first, to be frank with you. And I hope that's okay. kotikulta sock yarn come in a really big balls, 150 gram balls, which is not the norm here in Finland. I know that in like the US at Michael's they sell big balls of yarn, but here it's not. It's kind of hard to find those big balls of yarn. So yeah, I got these big ones because I'm making a whole coat. I'll probably need to buy more at some point, though. I only have, I think, 3 balls from what I can see in here. Anyway, I'm very excited about that. I think it's going to be, at this point. You know what? I feel kind of bad because I sent my friends a list of, or like some drawings that I made of options of different coat designs, and they chose one, and I was like, yes. And then I showed my boyfriend, and he chose the same one, and I was like, okay, it's settled. I'm gonna make that one. And it was like a white coat with blue heart graphic design on it. But then I kind of saw some pictures of other ones, and I don't know. I think I'm gonna actually make mine a blue and white houndstooth coat, because I feel like that one would fit my style a bit more. I don't know. And I'm making these heart gloves, so I can't wear heart gloves with a heart coat, you know, that'd be a little much. So that's my justification anyway for not taking their opinion. My last 2 acquisitions have some very exciting projects to go with them, and this is what I'm saying when I say that I'm very excited about some sweaters that I have coming up, and that's why I don't really want to work on my rib sweater, and I don't really want to work on my coat, because I want to work on these sweaters instead. So my dad gave me some birthday money, and it went straight into the hands of the yarn store. To start, I got a yarn that I've been eyeing for a while, and I was originally supposed to make my hat and mittens with it. I wanted to make my hat and mittens with this yarn, and then I ended up making the stripes. It's a whole thing. It is Drops Soft Tweed. Now you can notice from every acquisition I have in this video, except for, you know, obviously the finished one, that it is the Drops alpaca sale, and every Drops supplier, Drops seller, has their yarns with an alpaca fiber in them on sale, and that includes this soft tweed. This is a tweed that is made from alpaca, wool, and viscose. Now I have to say, immediately my first reaction was confusion, because it feels kind of like a cotton yarn. Like, it doesn't feel like a wool yarn to me. I guess it does, like, it is soft and warm, I guess. But I don't know, there's just something slightly strange about it to me, or like the texture just is not what I was expecting, especially for an alpaca content. There's no fuzz on it or anything. So I don't know, that was just surprising. Not negative per se, I enjoy working with cotton yarn, I was just kind of surprised. It wasn't what I was expecting. So it is, yeah, super fine alpaca and merino wool. And I got it in the color aquamarine, because I love light blue. That is my favorite color. And I've had this vision. Actually, this is probably a big reason why I started crocheting in the first place. Because I have this favorite sweater, and I cannot find anything like it in any commercial store, except for the one that I found. Because I'm quite picky about silhouettes and everything. And I keep making sweaters that are not in my picky preferred silhouettes, but because I'm so interested in learning different constructions, so that's why I'm doing it. But this is my preferred silhouette, okay? This is my favorite sweater. It is like a super cozy, comfy, baggy sweater on top, but then it, like, is tight. It's like a tight shirt material around the waist. And I just feel like that's the most flattering sweater on me personally, because I really feel like a loose silhouette sweater just does not flatter me in the way that it does certain people. Like, you know, all of the knitting, this might sound really bad, but you know, like all the knitting bloggers or whatever, petite knit makers, love to have that like flowy, oversized boyfriend silhouette. And it looks great on them, you know, and they rock it and they look like a supermodel. But when I wear it, I look like frumpy, I feel like, personally, to me. And I just think everybody has different shapes that fit them and suit them. And I just don't really care for the more masculine silhouette that it gives, personally. Yeah, that's just not what I'm going for. So anyway, this would be the perfect solution. Now, I still have not figured out how to make this for myself, but I have this dream of making myself a sweater just like this, with the same silhouette, at least, and making it in my favorite color, blue. It'll bring out my blue eyes, totally. I think it'll be beautiful. I just need to make it and figure out the construction. I'll probably have to do a slip stitch ribbing for this part because I've heard that that's the best crochet ribbing, that it has the most stretch and elasticity. So I will probably learn how to do that. And yeah, the rest of it I might do the waffle stitch for this upper textured part. I think that would fit well. And I've been wanting to do a blue waffle stitch thing anyway because on my parents' bed when I was a kid they had a blue waffle stitch blanket. And so I feel like having a blue waffle stitch something would be very comforting in a psychological level. So, yes. That is that sweater. I bought a sweater quantity of this, hopefully. I kind of guessed. This has a smaller thickness than the Drops Nepal and Drops Big Merino that I've used, and I know that those use 21 balls per sweater. This has it's smaller weight, so it should use less. So I got 17 balls. I'm gonna hope for the best. Because it's also like a bat wing thing, so it's gonna consume more yarn. Probably didn't order enough, but I can order more then if I have to. And especially, you know what the thing is, if I have a different yarn as like the tight part, I think that would look kind of cool. So if I just do the top part in this blue and then I run out and then I'll do something else for the bottom part, I might do that. I think it might be a fun, intentional look. Now, my other sweater quantity that I just ordered is Drops Flora, which I've never used, but it's the thinner version of Drops Nepal. And the reason why I wanted this was because I love the Drops Alpaca. I love the small gauge that it uses, and I think it looks really cool and it has a great drape to it. But I'm really worried about the fact that it's gonna stretch, that everybody keeps saying that if you use alpaca alone, it's gonna stretch. So that's why I decided to get Drops Flora, because that is an alpaca and wool blend. So I'm hoping that the wool will add a little bit more structure to it. And I got it in brown. Here's the thing. I ordered this online. Never seen it in person. And I had this goal of getting it to be as close as possible to a sweater that I already own, that I think is the most flattering color on me. And the sweater that it's in is a cashmere hand-me-down that is full of holes. It's been very well worn and very well loved. But it's not really wearable outside, so I wanted to get like a new version of it that I could wear. I mean, that is a very close match. I've gone to stores in person trying to look for a color to match this, and I've not gotten anywhere this close. So I'm very pleased with that. This is just slightly more warm toned, but if anything, I feel like that's a good thing. So I'm really excited to make something out of this. And my inspiration at the moment that I think I'm gonna do is, I've been seeing this blouse, and I forget what it's called and I forget who it's by, but it's a knit blouse that everybody's making right now. You know, like it has unfinished seams at the top and the bottom, and it has this boat neck. And I feel like it's super flattering on everyone that I've seen it on. It's very beautiful. And I have a vision of making a similar one. What I'm gonna do is, I think, I'm gonna make that kind of boat neck boat neck blouse with, and I'm going to make it side to side this way, you know, and I'm going to make it with a pattern of 3 half double crochet rows and 1 mesh row. Crochet 1, chain 1, crochet 1, chain 1. That is based on a pattern that I have seen on Instagram, inspired by that. And so yeah, I feel like that'll just look super gorgeous. It's not going to be the warmest sweater, but that's not really the point. It's more so going to be like a very comfortable, like sort of like a blouse, like the knit one is. And I think that's great, very wearable. The other thing is I think I'm going to do a drop shoulder construction, and this is what I was saying by saying I'm very picky about my constructions, but I keep making things that are not fitting what I'm picky about my constructions. So I don't really think that drop shoulders are the most flattering. I prefer a shoulder seam that, you know, cuts me off at the right places, you know, like right at my shoulder, so it looks like it fits you perfectly. But I'm excited by the idea of trying to make a drop shoulder because I've never made one before. And so I have to make one so I can see, you know, what it's like. What's the whole deal with it? And it'll probably be really easy. And with that kind of like a project, I want the whole thing to be quite easy. Because like the ribbed sweater that I'm making has inside sleeves, and that's a big part of the reason why I'm putting off working on it, because that's going to be difficult for me to figure out. So this one would be very easy. I can get through the whole thing pretty quickly. Now this is bad to admit, perhaps, but as an aspiring YouTube crocheter, I am already thinking about my everything I crocheted in 2023 video, and I want to have, you know, things to show. And so, yeah, I want to make some easy projects that I can finish. Yeah, I have one more project actually planned, inspired by Ecozoon, I think it's pronounced, made a ribbed crochet off the shoulder sweater, and I want to make that exact one that I saw. They explain really well in their video how to make it, like in a way that just really speaks to me personally. Like I really appreciated the explanation, because it told me everything that I needed to know in a way that like just made so much sense to my brain. So yeah, I'm gonna make that at some point as well with some stash yarn that I have. And so hopefully, I'm hoping that this one and that one will be the ones that I finish before the end of the year. Hopefully. And then I can have something to show in my video. Not that I don't already have enough projects that I've made this year, but you know, I'm an ambitious girly. So that's, I think, all that I have to show today. 3 finished objects, 3 works in progress, and a lot of yarn acquisitions. So I hope you enjoyed listening. I hope you had a relaxing time. I had a great time. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.